So, are these the ruins the knave was talking about? Whoa, talk about old.
They seem to be pretty ancient, all right.
Let's go in and have a look.
Just be careful. Stand with me!
Solidify! Settle down! Be sanctified.
Dada Kundala.
Bow your head.
This place has also been contaminated by primordial seawater.
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontainian would most likely dissolve the moment they fell in.
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous, and it won't be any help for you to just stay here. get Paimon wrong. We're not saying you're useless. It's just that...
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. I'll leave this to you. That complicates things. Maybe the only...
In that case, do you want to wait for us here?
The water levels here are unstable, and there's a chance the water will rise. So, I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just...
All right. Oh no, it's a dead end! Let's try climbing over from the side.
Wait! There's something wrong with this bridge! Run for it!
Demoiselle?
Huh?
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself? Would you be standing here till dark if I hadn't come to get you?
Maybe she just wants some time to herself, Maloose.
Oh. Was I?
Yes, it would appear so.
I must be tired.
That's quite possible. However, you were the one that suggested we go out for a walk.
Oh, right. I nearly forgot. It must have slipped my mind when I dozed off. I haven't had a nap today yet. Have I? This is a familiar feeling, yet something's a little
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. No, I'm fine. I was just trying to recall why we came out for a walk.
Do you remember Mr. Giverny? He'd requested our help before with foreign merchants who had a debt dispute with him, and we'd resolved...
We were headed to see how things were going.
Ah, right.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Maloose. And Mr. Silver, too.
How have you...
I've been great. Thanks to your help, they were knocking at my door
Sometimes...
Oh, yes. Miss Navia, these are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have...
Did you cultivate?
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, Demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants.
Very well.
Wait. Something seems to be off here. Excuse me, madam. If I'm not mistaken, your name is Burnett, correct?
That's right. Is something wrong?
No, it's nothing. This is the first time we've ever met, but your name seemed familiar to me. I must have heard it when I was discussing things with your husband previously. I've heard this name before. Sometime recently, I'm sure of it. And why are there so few people around here? Where did everyone go?
We must mind the time, Demoiselle. We still haven't...
We do? Like what?
Well, now, did you forget?
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. Please, come to the Opera House. Your trial is about to begin.
My trial? Wait, why would I need to go to the Opera House?
Yes, she's right, Demoiselle. It's just about time now, so we should get going.
Oh?
Look, it's Navia! She's here!
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to be oddly excited about something. Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so... And as for the judge... huh?
Please sit in the defendant's seat.
All right, but...
Typically, it wouldn't...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on, do they have any idea what they're doing?
Enough with the whispering! Could someone please tell me where Monsieur Neuvillette is? And why I'm standing trial?
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet realized what you've done? In that case, allow me to explain. As all here know, you are Master Callus's successor, the head of the Spina di Rosula, someone held in high regard by every soul in Poisson. After you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late Master Callus had. If anyone in need reached out to you for help, you responded. Not only you, but your butler, your subordinates, nearly everyone in the Spina di Rosula fought for the well-being of those in Poisson.
Wait a moment. Aren't you just proving that I'm a good person?
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why you stand accused. You have helped so many people get through so many difficulties. You are one with us. We are inseparable. We are one big family, all of us who are from Poisson, inextricably linked. And with you being so important, we couldn't possibly do without you. Therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty, and you shall stay here. You will be together with us forever.
Huh? What are you saying? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done a lot for my hometown, and I would be willing to be with you all, but what is the purpose of having me stand here like this? What is there to discuss?
Ah, well, if that's what you think, then I have no further comments.
How wonderful, Miss Navia!
I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to remember now. Yes, I get it. This trial is...
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Melus?
What was that, Mr. Melus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now. She's guilty!
Stay here, Navia! You're one of us!
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here forever.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mr. Joinville, you only know of Navia's goodness, but nothing of her utterly independent mind.
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never been tied down by anything. Indeed, even the death of Master Callus couldn't stop her.
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself as part of any group. She merely acted as an individual, extending her hand to help others. Please do not mistake her actions as being...
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. This is the nation of justice, the nation of Hydro. Even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful soul must return to everyone. Water accepts all, blends with all. It will surely accept her kindness. Everything is measured here in the nation of Hydro, and in the end, everyone shall meld together. Thus, when a unanimous opinion emerges, that opinion represents justice. Now I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay. We and Navia are one.
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. You are merely jealous that Demoiselle still has a chance to exist as an individual. Have you forgotten how much you all once longed to become individuals, to become independent?
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we acknowledge it?
As you said, we can also have our own justice. Silver and I shall defend Demoiselle, and that is how we will enforce justice.
My head... it hurts.
Demoiselle!
Silver, it hurts. My head is spinning. All I can see is stars swirling in front of me. I remember now. Everything that seemed odd from the very beginning. Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier. Even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid, and don't admit guilt. We will protect you.
Absurd! Who are you to say that she...
Don't let them escape! We shall keep Navia here with us!
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to us. After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
He says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly be an independent individual?
What's with these people?
Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us!
Miss Navia, she...
Silence.
That's...
Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The accusations you just presented are nonsense and cannot constitute a proper trial. The court will adjourn for the rest of the day. In this, I shall hear no objections from any unauthorized party.
Our thanks, Monsieur Neuvillette.
Please leave with me, Miss Navia, while there is still time.
But...
Go on now, Demoiselle. This is your only chance to leave this place. What, can't be...
Loose.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that this shall be our last goodbye.
Malus... Silver...
Quickly, you must come now.
Goodbye, Demoiselle.
Farewell.
No, wait! Just a second!
Hey, Navia?
You're awake. Good.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive, and they were defending me at some insane trial.
It looks like you're all right.
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a nightmare? Paimon could give you a hug.
The ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, I found you falling toward the water. You were just about to be dissolved within, but I...
What is it?
I think I saw two Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a second. but they gave me the chance to retrieve you. Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to rescue you before your consciousness dissipated.
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened with Vache?
Perhaps those two Oceanids were the people you saw in your dream.
I always told them that they didn't have to protect me. To think that they'd keep doing so even after death.
Please come with me.
𝒟𝓊𝓉𝓎, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all right. Perhaps there's something we could chat about?
Why do you look so stiff all of a sudden? Oh, Paimon knows. You're the type who feels awkward when there's nothing to talk about, right?
I merely thought that we should give Navia some time to herself.
Huh?
I suppose so. Ah, 𝒉𝑔𝑒𝑛. I hope all is well with her these...
No way! Don't worry. She's doing fine down there. She's an amazing head nurse.
I see. Well, that is good. I have always worried that 𝒉𝑔𝑒𝑛 would need a lot of time to understand the world of humanity, just as I have.
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though 𝒉𝑔𝑒𝑛 made him do that. He hopes that you haven't been overwhelmed by all that's happened lately.
Thank you. I haven't...
He still doesn't know what to talk about. So, 𝒟𝓊𝓉𝓎, you're probably quite the swimmer, huh?
Yes, of course.
This isn't going anywhere. Let's try something else. How did you find these ruins? Did the knave tell you?
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but when I arrived, I discovered that the Fatui were helping the residents evacuate. They had even transported a large quantity of supplies to the area. Amid my astonishment, I ran into the knave, and we had a chat. She informed me that she had asked you to investigate the ancient ruins here.
Yeah, we originally planned to meet up with you, but we thought you might still be busy with all those official documents. We didn't think exploring the ruins would take very long, and who would have thought you'd wrap things up so quickly?
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur 𝒟𝓊𝓉𝓎?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
All right! Another one joins the party! Let's get going then!
Yeah.
Stand with me! Out of the frying pan!
Silence!
Dada Kundala.
Oh no! Another unstable path! Watch your step!
Our bond is strong!
Gather! Bow your head. Let the mighty be humble!
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden spaces.
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Stone slates? It seems like they were put here as an offering. Could we take them down and have a look?
Perhaps we should just leave them be.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that should be in the first empty spot is missing.
The surrounding wall.
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be destroyed. I shall record the...
It feels like someone left these slates and the...
That would fit the
There's a person...
And is... The 4th image.
The people will all be dissolved into the... More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it, most likely due to us missing the first slate. I am very sorry.
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Neuvillette. Deciphering ancient stone slates isn't one of your duties.
Ooh, Paimon's getting the chills just looking at these slates. This says that it's the history of the future, right? That means the prophecy's sure to come true.
I really hope it doesn't mean that.
Still...
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the 4th, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the 3rd, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Furina only emerges in the 3rd image. That means that the
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here does match the records. The previous Archon kneeling before the floating...
Did she herself commit that sin? Also, I'm still wondering...
But who would have creeped...
It seems that any further clues will have to come from Furina.
In that case, there's no time to lose. There's nothing else to be gained here, so let's head back.
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
let's split up here.
You still haven't...
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work today. Rest well. Traveler, I will go talk to Furina tomorrow morning to ask about the stone slates. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office. I will share the results of our discussion with you.
Are you really gonna talk to her?
She has long been...
All right.
I will be carefully considering my words tonight.
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Fleuve Cendre is always open to you, as ever. So please don't think you're an imposition. All right. I'll be on my way then.
We're finally back!
Welcome back. We've got a
Yay! And there's good food! Paimon's already starting.
Oh, that voice. Is that who I think it is?
Huh?
It's you two. What are you doing in Fontaine?
Mona?
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time to just see who they'll meet on the road.
Still, we didn't expect to see you here. Wait, you're not a Fontanian, are you, Mona?
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out for a stroll when I bumped into you. Quite unexpectedly, if I might add. Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Megistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstader surname?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, there was nothing for it. Nope. Although it is used by...
Wow!
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromance.
Whoa!
My name means...
Thrice as great?
I know, right?
Talk about it.
Megistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak.
That sounds terrible! But anyway, you're not Fontaine.
Well, I was born...
Oh, that's a good...
Speak... There's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. The invitation was sent quite early.
What do you make...
What I can tell you is that I'm afraid that this... But on the flip side...
A visionary?
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I'd...
Thanks, Mona!
Oh, well...
That's the greatest...
Indeed, indeed!
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the spike, but we were able to recruit... Good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling. But it's time to get up, Trav.
strong!
You're here! Finally!
Is something wrong?
Monsieur 𝒟𝒊𝒏 and Lady Furina, they seem to have gotten into a dispute. Please go see for yourself. Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses between us. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the 𝒂𝓃 ℉𝒂𝓃, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson incident.
You mean...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. I will say this once more. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some...
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about... But you found them in some ancient ruins, you say?
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 feature different images that seem to correlate to the prophecy. The second of these slates depicts the previous 𝒂𝓃 Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you know nothing of this either?
I don't. I've never seen such slates.
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the 𝒂𝓃 Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know about it, it should be you.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Furina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the 𝒂𝓃. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets, as well as do nothing following your inquiries. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be.
Well, since you know about... There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the 𝒟𝒂𝒃, but you're still my subordinate. You should be following my lead. Just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodles!
Did Furina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her.
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed! Seems Furina did—
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again, a state of affairs that we cannot allow to continue. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue. Everyone in her inner... We may have to...
Oh?
Normally, people will only...
But
We will need to consider... if at all possible. This may be cruel to her, but all... But who will then...
Well, that's everyone. Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it the best choice.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the...
That's what families should do.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spotlight at last. I guess I'll be facilitating things from here.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from 𝒂𝓃, and used on the spot. So, let's invite her to explain in detail. A round of applause, please.
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
𝒂𝓃 and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, oh, right. You were sick that day, weren't you?
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before. Does that count?
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the 𝒒 Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal implement will also be necessary to deal with the prey. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires...
You use some of those techniques while moving the people...
Yes, and
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit.
And I can be...
With discretion...
I remember that...
I did.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. But I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey.
If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true
So, are we going hunting together?
We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves...
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god, a being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Oh, so that's what's going on.
it. Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but everyone seemed pretty fired up. Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, 𝒉 was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. Well, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that at all. Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
Who's that voice? But there's no one here.
Ah, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Sumeru.
The voice from the sky, I fear that description is wrong. Though, not completely wrong. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim. The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What? Then is there any way we can...
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in 𝒂𝒏 so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Ultimately. This was
the voice. Alright, Kami. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting...
did she have pink...
Why, yes! It was Charlotte. You remember her, right? That daredevil journalist. I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies...
That's right!
Ah, yes. About what... Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty...
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary, but I've never met her.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sound...
Their abilities alone are pretty
Well, it's not like Paimon could...
Yes, she was quite... Perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed, but even so, perhaps that's what 𝒂𝑏 was trying to tell. I did originally...
You do have a point.
There I go. It was worth trying to... I suppose that...
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by. Huh? Our names are written in this newspaper. What's going on? Let Paimon easy! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of 𝒂𝑚 has continued in its noble autonomy. But that does not mean that others cannot interact with it. My recent attempts to enter thus did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report. A blonde adventurer with their white fairy legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this mysterious traveler once visited the underwater fortress. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the tales of the traveler contain surprises in spades. Journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet. The Traveler's Trail, World Walker. Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us and we never even... She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at... Ugh, seriously? Well... Paimon's hungry. Should we go in and get something to eat? Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it, despite the tension.
1 slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all. Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur 𝒟𝒃 was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat cake here anymore? What would you think?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe the waters will rise tomorrow. You know, like in the prophecy.
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some today. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sigewinne said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sigewinne?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here. I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. I'm sure this cake will be delicious. It's more delicious than last time! And the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea. Sure would be nice if we could always eat
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you seen the article I wrote about you?
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick mora!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It appeared it's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really?
Well, you're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now, you know.
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden? Were you looking for me?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here in Fontaine. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the legendary traveler and...
Huh? So your article in the paper today doesn't...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen and experienced.
Yeah, are we even qualified enough?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course. I'll need a few days to prepare.
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat when you have the time then?
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply for lighting, a venue, some props, and... Whew, so much to get done now. Talk to you later.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine were to be flooded tomorrow, what would you do today?
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often, but I've never once thought that the day could be tomorrow. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly, I wouldn't forsake my homeland that easily. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than worry over such an end. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story. I'm not a dreamer, but anyway.
That's so not... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty... Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't fun... No, Paimon... We've always been moving to the next You mean, still traveling? Huh. Feels like it'll grow more, but it's still the...
So the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the palace?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Not at all. Yes.
A riot?
Well, that Lady Farina loudly accused and before she could, the crowd continued.
So people...
I agree.
So what happened after...
Seeing that the the Marechaussee fan...
So...
That's right. That said, I don't think there's good.
Don't worry.
Is that...
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know for... And as when 𝒟𝓊𝓉 was... It would be hard... Paimon thinks for... Well, what do you... In that case, there's... This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there. She really is here.
What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. I am so Give up, Farina. There's no... I'm sorry, but what can I even do?
other than to repeat me. Who's that?
Don't worry, Furina, it's just us.
So, it is you.
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing they even dare. Oh, and I'm sure Neuvillette and those people from the 𝒔𝒆𝒊𝒂𝒓 Phantom are... Of course not!
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Furina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person. That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Furina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Furina! There's a good hiding spot
What?
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine, I suppose. I merely gave in to the sheer
Yep, that's it.
What's happening? The ground's shaking.
Yeah.
It can't be.
Well, there's no...
Yeah, but the people... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Teyvat. I've tried all but... Oh my... We cannot make an enemy of the divine. Give up, indeed. Fate. But just now... It all... As long as the... Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. Don't take a...
Come on!
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right... A witness. And if Teyvat...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am 𝒂𝓃, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god?
I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Furina, what is the meaning of this?
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Furina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice! One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the 𝒂𝒃 is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine! The trial of the Hydro Archon, 𝒂𝒃 will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Furina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crime? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of 𝒂𝒏, my accuser and fated opponent. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean, the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontainian history.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epicles, The volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Araneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess 𝒟𝑉𝒏 and 𝒂𝓃𝒹 ℂ. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, 𝒂𝓃𝒹, As for you, you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived, oh? It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, 𝒏 Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened. So in other words, we can refer to this. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been fought. This is the first time Monsieur 𝒟𝑉𝒏 had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something. The fortress of Meropide was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally. According to Monsieur 𝒟𝑉𝒏, both Child and that whale should have been in the Primordial Sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, 𝒟𝑉𝒏. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only natural for humans to—
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, 𝒂𝓒𝓅, otherwise known as 𝒂𝓃𝒹 ℚ𝒂𝓃𝓎, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Furina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Furina's claims, but also—
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
That doesn't sound right. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Neverlet?
Lady Furina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnidium that is used in every aspect of life.
doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the 𝒂𝓃𝒃. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the 𝒂𝓃𝒃 declared child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Furina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the 𝒂𝓃𝒃. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the 𝒂𝓃𝒃 gave out a guilty verdict that day, but the 𝒂𝓃𝒃 handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe, please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up. can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real 𝒂𝓃, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it. That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... That's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water! Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Furina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Furina could have...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me! Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! What happened just now didn't prove a single thing! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water? Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Furina to—
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is guilty. We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Furina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the oratrice's verdict?
No, the oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an...
Furina's been sentenced to death by the oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind—
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
𝒏 ℉, you finally made it. I assume this means you've...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for 𝒏 to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me up, but has the trial already concluded? Then, doesn't that mean I've come to...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. 𝒏. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I have now made sense of the ℔ crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the ℔ just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven that she's not the ℔. So when you say ℔, do you mean the real ℔ we've been kind of talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember. The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous ℔ using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn in. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the ℔ and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the ℔ and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the ℔ sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the ℔ crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not...
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can be dissolved in primordial seawater, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the ℔ used her power to turn Oceanids into humans.
That doesn't sound quite... That doesn't...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of 𝒂𝑃 was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have...
That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the ℔ that 𝒟𝑊𝑷𝑮 mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates.
That doesn't...
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The stone slates show the people gathered around the ℓ in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. The ℓ was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of 𝒂ℶ𝒃 was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truths should come to light. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Lyney, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous ℓ, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the ℓ to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The ℓ's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the ℓ's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the ℓ also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the ℓ will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the... Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative... I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the ℓ were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous ℓ sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. the Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro-Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro-Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro-Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus, the Hydro-Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro-Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. A key point of the visual on the third slate, they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro-Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deduction about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of 𝒟𝒂𝒃 served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass. However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's and once it is.
You said that when the 𝒉𝒂𝒂𝒃 first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again, once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like that. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically even if the entire—
That's not— We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true We've come so—
Indeed. That's not—
I'll fight it to the end. No matter—
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future. Just as prophecies are usual. Ultimately,
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Furina!
No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Furina.
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. Assures—
Focolo, why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. I had to outwit. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the 𝒓𝒃, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Furina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principle. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The 𝒓𝒃 alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Furina to be an actress, to play the part of the 𝒓𝒃 in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Furina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera.
So, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must— All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from— Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am 𝒂𝓃. The eyes of countless Fontainians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
This is order.
What gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
The tides beckon.
𝒒℄.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're near me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me? What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the 𝒂𝓃 will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will this—
Oh, very good. You know it well.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only—
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them.
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to— I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer? But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let any... If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all...
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would remember. Your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but... So, how long am I going to have to play?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial? Huh. How exciting. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, in truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my as the god 𝒂𝓃, the god of justice. I shall do all within my Once again, thank you all for coming. I thought I might stammer.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between...
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-backed puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone Right. Myrmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Calm down, Furina. Think. What do... Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can... Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of... Now, I was wondering, if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self. Here, you may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a Now then!
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, no, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they... There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and... So long as I, the Archon Focalors, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even...
Lady Furina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neuvillette. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to end all things. How could you hope to understand?
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Furina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine charm. All right, Deuteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Lady Furina.
I see. It's as I thought, that all manner of... Really?
I'm...
The day is finally... But it's good to... Maybe this is fun.
Lady 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no...
Lady 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina.
Indeed, my...
Lady 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina, we're detecting significant...
Understood. I feel
Lady 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame 𝒜𝒂𝒂𝒅, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer, a descendant of a line
Surely you Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must I never imagined. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy? I have condemned. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act.
𝒒ℒ𝒧rina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share that's impossible. It was fated right.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still just share it with
a witness. And if he's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine... No, 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina. You should... But what if... Oh, 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina, is it such an... If you let them think about it, long and hard. No, I have... All you need to do, dear spectator, is...
Fine.
So even 𝒒ℒ𝒧rina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the 𝒂𝓃𝒃 is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the 𝒂𝓃𝒃, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
Beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the 𝒂𝓃𝒃 take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Furina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the 𝒂𝓃𝒃. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy—
So the 𝒂𝓃𝒃's call for death was for neither Furina nor Focalors, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent—
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But—
Oh, what? Getting sad. The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the—
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. defying the prophecy. At this point, 𝒂𝓃𝒹, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as—
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as 𝒂𝓃, I see now that that was your idea too, at last. I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, 𝒂𝓄𝒃. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, 𝒟𝓊𝒏. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
𝒂𝓃𝒹 hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're—
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to the—
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the primordial sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice, the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast, come with me, traveler. The hour... done my best to separate the power of the primordial sea. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient life. We shall look for an opening together. I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Solidify!
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. A chance will present itself.
Solidify! Order guide you!
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point.
That power. Who are you exactly?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was, less...
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's all in all, it fit. The point...
Well, being that... So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is 𝒟𝓃𝒃.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? 𝒂𝑑𝑟 then?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine part of the Hexen Circle. She's 𝑦𝑏𝑕𝑠's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine. They are both pursuing some...
Wait!
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove as such. In other words...
What?
Not to worry.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Furina will remain, weeping on her throne. then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong. The soil renewed. The 𝒉𝑖𝑑𝑐𝒃 attacks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the 𝒉𝑖𝑑𝑐𝒃. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia. Skyship Winglet, lunar bane of the Fontaine Research. The various disputes that have arisen on it, people always call the first Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the report.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops lies. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created it.
Paimon's curious.
And that's exactly
are you?
Oh, this time...
Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a...
I'm here to update my...
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. 𝒂𝓃𝒹. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of supplies, and is helping with our work. Our residents are hard...
Hello, Miss Charlotte.
I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about but if you don't mind...
I get where you're coming from.
That would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god. There's lots of exciting material there, I bet.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better
I see.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you...
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up.
How did it go? Was it a good...
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the also, not to
Wow, you...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of 𝒂𝒧𝒏.
Whoa, you're welcome.
That's a...
In truth, I told him that it...
You're right.
Stay safe now. And tell me...
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgia.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entrance to...
Of course.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for...
No need to thank me.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so nervous. I've already taken all...
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her...
Sir, please.
But it looked...
No,
Now, I might not look it, but I actually... The boat that Still, if I might add...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the...
Really?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps...
Did you really have to use the word Well, then, to solo...
Is my hair messed up?
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this new...
Siege...
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure.
Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the...
Same old, as...
Other than that flying ship.
That's why I decided to...
You're too kind, sir.
I see.
He sure did win them over, huh?
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine.
Oh.
What change can there be? As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll...
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a...
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next...
Maybe. Who knows? All right. Last stop, the docks. Flavia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Lyney and the others after working together.
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget?
It's a wondrous
Trick a friend.
You could just make a friend like 𝒉𝒹 here. Isn't that right, 𝒉𝒹?
Is this...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have...
You sure are working hard to help 𝒉𝒹 so...
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist...
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pip.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of it. Father says that...
that's
Oh, I guess after Lady...
a diplomatic...
Yes, it could have been done. Furthermore...
that's...
I would agree. I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which...
but back to the...
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from...
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind.
Are you going to take the Gnosis back to Snezhnaya?
That is our duty as Harbinger. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. Switching my masks is something I've well, that depends on many things. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right. I'll remember to return it.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist. That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like. The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. I guess this must be... All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see her Nibbler?
Lightning terrified!
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neuvillette. I didn't think you were going to have free time this hour of the day.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Lyney. In any case, you came at a good time.
All right, let's have... Whoa. So That's what happened. 𝒂𝓃𝒹 but Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the 𝒂𝓃𝒹. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of mimic. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought into being on this planet. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by water from the primordial.
𝒂𝓃𝒹 must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, 𝒂𝓃𝒹 finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish to turn Oceanids into real people too!
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the all-devouring narwhal. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. At most, he would have had tangential liability. As for the judgment passed by the whether it was due to that liability...
Guess 𝒂𝓃𝒹... hang on a second. Paimon, back when Fontaine...
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontaine...
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all...
In truth, even though those Ocead...
Paimon...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about...
Ah, Lady Furina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me, before leaving the Opera House. I related 𝒂𝓃𝒹's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor... She simply said that she was tired and needed to... Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the Opera House. Not unlike how an ordinary person might.
But she's still got a place to stay.
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or travel. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time, but now that she no longer has to play the role of 𝒂𝓃𝒹 the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and lead a normal life.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers as the Hydro Dragon?
After 𝒂𝓃𝒹 passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear cases and pass verdicts by myself.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the unit.
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty, in a manner of speaking, you could say that both were as such before I attend to my other responsibilities. Additionally,
That's true. Wait, but the...
As I am now, I have full command over New Musea, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite leave Fontaine immediately.
Wow.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift or...
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to... I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide. As far as I'm aware...
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome. Unlike ancient dragons, such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying... There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the knave that I believe may be useful to... The harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously, everywhere you look, there's a Fatui...
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, Fontaine's doors will always be open to you. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hey, when we spoke to... We guessed that there might...
No. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over soon as well, all right, 𝒟𝓃𝒻?
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer getting any interference. I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. It's quite an... I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak.
Of course. You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of it.
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalors' divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, I got from him. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Regardless, you should... To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn to curse.
What do you mean?
No need to fret. These are just my... personal thoughts. And my reason for no longer wishing to return.
This third descender you refer to, who are they? And when did they die?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me to know. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He can be the messenger, then.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not, I wanted to pass that information on to you.
The remains of the third descender? So that's what the gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's remains?
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that is what she meant to say.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here. I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision. That does sort of count as special compatibility. No, let's not think about this stuff right now. Comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his master and get the answers then.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true of being at court.
All right. Whatever the case.
Yes.
But she's...
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishing, life flows like... And what ultimately?
Ad Astra. Thank you for Ad Astra at.